Today we are going to learn how to pronounce the names of certain locations in the game. Luckily for you, I speak the language. You can call it Croat or Bosniak or Serbian, or if you are from the ICTY Tribunal for former Yugoslavia, you would call it BCS language. Whichever name you use, I will teach you how to pronounce the names. Now let's begin. First of all, we will start Okay. Let's begin. Cazinska Krajina. Cazinska Krajina. Krajina is a region, so it's a region of a town of Cazin. Once upon a time, Cazin was the major town ruling the whole region. Nowadays, it's Bihać, Velika Kladuša, Velika Kladuša, or Big Kladuša. That town was a place where Agrokomerc was situated. It was a big company in ex-Yugoslavia, and its big manager, Fikret Abdić, rose to the prominence in the Bosniak party. Later in the war, he will even change sides and be recruited by the Serbians for their cause. So Velika Kladuša, learn that name. Cazin. Cazin. That's the town who once ruled the region, and for its sake the region was named Cazinska Krajina. Bosanska Krupa. Bosanska Krupa. Bosanski Novi. Bosanski Novi. Or Bosnian New. Bosnian New Town. And finally, the key location, key space, Bihać. Bihać. Bihać was under siege for years during this war, and by some circumstance it survived, and finally it came out as victorious. Let's go further. Bosanska Krajina. Bosanska Krajina, or Bosnian region, you could call it. Krajina is this western part of Bosnia. It was a section of Bosnia which fell to the Turks last. This western part of Bosnia is called Krajina, and we have split it into Bosanska Krajina, Cazinska Krajina, Zapadna Krajina, and Južna Krajina. People from those regions call themselves Krajišnici, Krajišnici, or in singular, Krajišnik. Bosanska Kostajnica, Bosanska Kostajnica. Bosanska Dubica, Bosanska Dubica. Bosanska Gradiška, Bosanska Gradiška. Ivanjska, Ivanjska. Prijedor, Prijedor. Bronzani Majdan, Bronzani Majdan. And the capital of the region and de facto capital of Bosnian Serbs, Banja Luka. Banja luka. It's a beautiful city. Let's go on. Zapadna Krajina. Zapadna Krajina. Western region, you could call it. We have Bosanski Petrovac, Bosanski Petrovac, Drvar, Drvar. Let's stop here for a second. Drvar was a place where Germans tried to capture Josip Broz Tito. It was an operation devised by their, I think it was Korzeni. There were paratroopers, there were airborne assault troops, and they landed near Drvar, and there was a command HQ of partisan army, and Tito escaped by this much. Bosansko Grahovo. Bosansko Grahovo. Ključ. Ključ. Or in English, key. Key. And the capital of the region, Sanski Most. Sanski Most. Or in English, bridge over river Sana. Južna Krajina. Južna Krajina. Južna Krajina. Southern region. We have Mrkonjić grad. Mrkonjić grad. Then we have Mlinište. Mlinište. Šipovo. Šipovo. And finally, Jajce. Jajce. Small egg. Remember, it's not Jajce, it's Jajce. Jajce was famous because it was a place where socialist Yugoslavia was born. Drugo zasjedanje AVNOJ-a happened there in Jajce during the World War II. And also it's a beautiful town with big waterfall on rivers Vrbas and Pliva. Next, Tropolje. Tropolje, or translated into English, that would be 3 fields. We have Sajković, Sajković, then Glamoč, Glamoč, then we have Kupres, Kupres, a strategic position, and Serbians wanted to go through Kupres to get to the southern parts of Bosnia and Herzegovina, and as a gateway to Croatia. Then we have Tomislavgrad, Tomislavgrad, previously known as Duvno. It was renamed to Tomislavgrad as a symbol of the coronation of the King Tomislav, famous and, by legend, first Croatian king. So Tomislavgrad means a town of Tomislav. And finally we have Livno, Livno, famous for its cheese, Livanjski sir. Now we dive into Herzegovina. One interesting detail: Bosnia and Herzegovina is the name of the country. The name of the country is not Bosnia. So when you hear so many times that people abbreviate the name of the country just to Bosnia, it's unfair to very large part of the country called Herzegovina. Remember that. It's Bosnia and Herzegovina, or Bosna I Herzegovina. Herzegovina, as you can see, in this game is divided into 3 regions: Zapadna Hercegovina, Western, Sjeverna Hercegovina, Northern, and Istočna Hercegovina, Eastern. Let's start with Zapadna Hercegovina. Zapadna Hercegovina. That's Western Herzegovina, and it consists of Široki Brijeg, Wide Hill. Then we have Čapljina, and finally Mostar, which, for the reasons of the minutiae of this war, is divided into 2 spaces: Zapadni Mostar, Western Mostar, and Istočni Mostar, Eastern Mostar. Throughout the war, Western Mostar, or Zapadni, was in Croatian hands, and Istočni, Eastern Mostar, was in Bosniak hands. And the river divided them, and smack in the middle of the river was an old bridge, famous bridge, and bridge who has given the town its name. It was destroyed, sadly, as a result of shelling by Croatians, and luckily after the war it was repaired as much as you can repair something that was obliterated during the war, because it was such a strong symbol of the town and the region that it had to be rebuilt. Mostar without most, without bridge, wouldn't be the same. Let's go to Northern Herzegovina, that is Sjeverna Hercegovina. Sjeverna Hercegovina. There we have Hadžići, Konjic, Prozor. Prozor is well known in the historiography of the World War II in Yugoslavia, because during the so-called Battle for Neretva, which was the offensive by the Axis forces to destroy the partisan army, Prozor was a vital position for partisans to get to the eastern side, or left bank of the river Neretva. And there was a famous command by the partisan headquarters, and command was Prozor noćas mora pasti, which translated means Prozor needs to fall tonight, because it was vital for it to fall so they can pass through. And Prozor did fall, and the partisans succeeded in extricating themselves from being surrounded. And then we have Jablanica. The last but not least region in Herzegovina is Istočna Hercegovina, or Eastern Herzegovina, consisting of Stolac, then Nevesinje, or maybe Nevesinje, who knows, then Gacko, Bileća, and finally the main town in the region, Trebinje. Now we go to the region called Bosna. It got its name from the river Bosna, which runs from the north to the center of the country, and we will now look at the region Sjeverna Bosna. Sjeverna Bosna, or Northern Bosnia. Kotor Varoš. Kotor Varoš. Tešanj. Tešanj. Zavidojči. Zavidovići. Prnjavor. Prnjavor. Yes, I know. Prnjavor. You need to relax your larynx. Prnjavor. Prnjavor. Yeah? Try it once more. And now to the center of the country. Srednja Bosna. Srednja Bosna. Or Central Bosnia. Travnik. Travnik. Very old town and used to be a capital of the country. We have Novi Travnik. Novi Travnik or New Travnik. We also have Vitez. Vitez. That would translate as knight, as in Sir Lancelot, the knight. Vitez. Gornji Vakuf. Gornji Vakuf. Upper Vakuf. Kiseljak. Kiseljak. Bugojno. Bugojno. And finally, Zenica. Zenica. Bosnians would say Zenca. Zenca. Famous for its penitentiary and the song Zenica Blues, singing about being imprisoned in Zenica prison. Posavina. Posavina. The region on river Sava. Derventa. Derventa. Bosanski Brod. Bosanski Brod. Doboj. Doboj. Gradačac. Gradačac. Bosanski Šamac. Bosanski Šamac. And last but not least, the town without whom you won't be able to play this game. You need to know how to pronounce it, otherwise it wouldn't be a good game. Now, listen to me very carefully. BRČKO. Yeah? Got it? Once more. BRČKO. Prepare yourself. Prepare yourself, as I told you. Churchill, Churchill, Churchill. BRČKO. Soli. Soli. Srebrenik. Srebrenik. Gračanica. Gračanica. Visoko. Visoko. Vareš. Vareš. Tuzla. Tuzla. Famous for its salt mines. And that's how this region got its name. Soli means salts. Podrinje. Podrinje. Region on the river Drina. Drina is another great river which represents the eastern border of Bosnia and Herzegovina towards Serbia and Montenegro. Sokolac. Sokolac. Trnovo. Trnovo. Foča. Foča. Goražde. Goražde. Višegrad. Visegrad, a town famous for the book Na Drini Ćuprija, or translated to English, that would be a bridge on the river Drina. Semberija, Semberija. Priboj, Priboj. Bijeljina, Bijeljina. Zvornik, Zvornik. Vlasenica, Vlasenica, or maybe Vlasenica. And probably the most well-known place, Srebrenica, Srebrenica. Now let's move on to Sarajevo. Sarajevo has its own map, and we have city neighborhoods, and we have surrounding mountaintops, and the city, the town of Vogošća. But let's move on, step by step. Sarajevo. Ilidža, Ilidža. There are some great hotels there, and there is Vrelo Bosna. That would be the spring of river Bosna. It's a park, it's a natural park, wood, a river, good food, good place to go. If you ever go to Sarajevo, go to Ilidža, Vrelo Bosna. Airport, Sarajevo Airport, also known as Butvir, underneath which a tunnel was dug out, and through which the supplies and the ammunition went into town, and people went in and out of the city. Grbavica, Grbavica, a Serbian thorn in the Bosniak center, a place where snipers were placed shooting in the city. Zlatište, Zlatište, one of the hilltops from which the Serbians had the control of the situation in the city. Rajlovac, Rajlovac used to be a place for educating the pilots of the Yugoslav People's Army Air Force, Jugoslavensko ratno vazduhoplovstvo I protuvazdušna odbrana. Semizovac, Semizovac. Vogošća, Vogošća, a town with significant amount of industry, factories, which was very well used by the Serbs during the war. Žuč, Žuč, a hilltop commanding the large part of the city. Very important strategic location. Gornja Slatina, Gornja Slatina. Hrastova glava, Hrastova glava. Pale, Pale, a small mountain town which became the place for the Serbian political elite. During the war they called Sarajevo their capital, but they held most of their meetings in Pale. Although nowadays Banja Luka is the de facto capital of Bosniak Serbs, but during the war Pale was the place where most of the meetings were held. And now, key spaces within Sarajevo. Novi Grad, or new town, new city. Novo Sarajevo, or new Sarajevo. And finally, the place where you can get the best food. ČEVAPČIĆI, BUREK, DOLME, all the best that the Bosnian cuisine can offer you. That is centar, or center. Just stroll down Baščaršija, pass the Sebilj fountain and choose your place. Buy some ČEVAPČIĆI and enjoy. That's what's life like in Sarajevo. And now for the final round, foreign spaces. We have Krajina, and Krajina has following spaces. Knin, a capital of Croatian Serbs. Gračac, Slunj, Glina, or in English, clay. Then we have Yugoslavia spaces. Loznica, Užice, Pljevlja, Nikšić, and finally Croatia. Slavonski Brod, Dubrovnik. Everybody knows Dubrovnik. Ploče, NEUM, Imotski, and finally Sinj. Well, that's it for now. I hope that this will help you, and I hope this will make you a better player of the game. So, without further ado, I wish you all the best and stay healthy and have fun playing the game. Bye.